Pay attention to Sade Robinson, 19, sitting beside Maxwell Anderson, 33, at a high-top table in a Milwaukee bar on the evening of April 1st, 2024. It's a first date. They are close, their shoulders almost touching as they lean in over a game of beer pong, laughing. On the grainy CCTV, they look like any other promising match. Two attractive people, smiling, making easy conversation in the glow of the bar lights. She has no reason to suspect the man sitting so casually beside her has already prepared a plastic tarped room in his basement, or that the hand he places gently on her back as they leave into the night is the guiding hand of a predator. She has less than 4 hours left to live, because when she drives them back to his distinctive pink house duplex, she is not walking into a lover's apartment. She is entering a forensic slaughterhouse, a stage he set for a single horrific performance. This intimate, cheerful date, captured in frames of them sitting side by side, would be the last time anyone saw Sade Robinson whole. Her dismembered remains would soon be scattered across 50 miles of Lake Michigan shoreline, a horrific puzzle that only a relentless trail of digital breadcrumbs could solve. This is the story of a killer who used a dating app as a hunting ground, who believed he could vanish a human being through fire and dismemberment, and the unblinking digital witnesses, from a phone's location app to a city bus's security camera, that documented his every frantic move after the murder, building an ironclad case from the ghost of a presence he tried to erase. The evening of April 1st began with the mundane rhythms of modern dating. Maxwell Stephen Anderson, 33, and Sade Carlina Robinson, 19, had connected on a dating app. Anderson, a bartender with a history of domestic violence charges, was a practiced social chameleon. Sade was a driven criminal justice student, weeks from graduation, working 2 jobs and embodying a cautious independence that made her an unlikely target. Anderson arrives first at the Twisted Fisherman, a seafood restaurant and bar. He settles in. Sade arrives, bright and smiling, captured on the restaurant's CCTV. The footage shows a normal, even upbeat first date. They share drinks and shots. Investigators would later note Sade was steady and in control, even declining a second shot. For over an hour, the small talk flows. Anderson suggests moving the date to a second location, Duke's on Water, a bar where he was a regular. This move is classic predatory behavior, transitioning the target to a territory where he feels more in control and is known by the staff. Surveillance here shows them sitting side by side, playing beer pong for over 2 hours. Anderson is in his element, laughing, introducing her around, building a facade of normalcy and social proof. They leave Duke's. A city pole camera captures Anderson placing his arm around Sade as they walk to her car, a white 2020 Honda Civic. She is the driver. She is in control of the vehicle, but she is now being guided into the heart of his world. Sade's Life 360 app, which shared her location with family, pings at Anderson's residence on South 39th Street. The duplex, painted a distinctive pink, was more than a home. Its basement was a prepared stage for violence. Weeks earlier, Anderson had given a tour of this basement to a confidential informant. He had meticulously taped plastic sheeting over the floors, walls, and ceiling, covering a large sink. He explicitly told the informant he planned to lure a woman from a dating app there, murder her, and dismember her body. This was not a spur-of-the-moment fantasy. It was a rehearsed plan. Inside the main house, investigators would later find a collection of 51 knives. The stage was set. For the next 3.5 hours, there is no digital record from inside the house. This black box period is where the physical crime occurred. A neighbor's doorbell camera, however, captured the last sign of life: movement at the property ending at 12:45 a.m. Then, the silent digital witnesses begin to tell the story Sade no longer can. Just 2 minutes later, Sade's Honda Civic is recorded by a city license plate reader leaving the neighborhood. The timing is damning. The car leaves immediately after all movement inside ceases, suggesting the driver is no longer Sade. At 4:35 a.m., Sade's cell phone makes its final connection, pinging off a cell tower at Warnemont Park in Cudahy, a remote, wooded area on the shores of Lake Michigan. The investigation began not with a missing person, but with a grotesque discovery. On the evening of April 2nd, a dog walker in Warnemont Park finds a human leg, severed cleanly at the hip. It is immediately identified as Sade Robinson's. The location matches the final ping from her phone. The case instantly transforms from a missing person to a homicide, and a frantic search for the rest of her. The discoveries that followed painted a map of calculated horror. On April 6th, a human foot, painted with pink nail polish, found near 31st and Galena. On April 9th, bloody gloves discovered a quarter-mile from the leg. On April 18th, a torso and an arm wash ashore in South Milwaukee. On May 11th, a decomposed arm is found 53 miles away in Waukegan, Illinois. The dismemberment was coldly clinical. The medical examiner found no evidence of bleeding at the cut sites, proving Sade was already dead when she was taken apart. Critically, her head and vital organs were never recovered. The killer had removed the very evidence that would show how she died. The official cause was listed as homicide by unspecified means. It was the ultimate act of forensic obstruction. Anderson's plan involved not just murder, but a comprehensive forensic cleanup. He failed because he underestimated the network of digital witnesses he could not silence. On the morning of April 2nd, Sade's Honda Civic was found in a vacant lot, completely consumed by an intense, deliberate fire. A fire investigator determined an accelerant was used inside the passenger compartment. A green stuffed animal was saturated with fuel. The goal was clear: cremate all DNA, hair, or fiber evidence from transporting a body. This is where Anderson's plan truly unraveled. After ditching the burning car, he needed to get home. He thought he was invisible. He was not. At 7:27 a.m., surveillance from an MCTS city bus clearly captures a man boarding near the fire scene. He is wearing distinct clothing: dark pants, specific shoes, and a camouflage backpack that appears heavily loaded. Detectives traced this bus route. It went directly to a stop a short walk from Anderson's pink house. At 8:42 a.m., a residential poll camera captures a man matching the bus passenger's description, walking up to Anderson's duplex and entering. The bus camera provided something crime scenes and witness testimony often cannot: irrefutable, silent documentation of the perpetrator's movement in the critical hours after the murder, directly linking him to the arson of the victim's vehicle. When SWAT teams raided Anderson's home, the basement told its own story. While the infamous plastic tarps were gone, other evidence remained. 3 saws were found. One reciprocating saw blade tested positive for human blood matching Sade Robinson's DNA. A fresh load of laundry in the dryer contained the exact clothing Anderson wore on the date. The tenant downstairs testified to hearing heavy, suitcase-like objects being dragged down the basement stairs in the early morning hours of April 2nd, a sound consistent with moving a body. Maxwell Anderson's trial in June 2025 was a masterclass in prosecuting a case with no murder weapon, no confession, and no complete body. The defense, led by attorney Tony Cotton, hammered on these absences. They highlighted that the blood initially reported on the house walls was canine, not human. They pointed to marijuana and pills found in Sade's apartment during a wellness check, attempting to suggest alternative scenarios. But the prosecution's case was a seamless narrative woven from the digital trail. They presented the jury with an incontrovertible sequence. 1. The happy date. Restaurant CCTV showed a normal evening. 2. The disappearance. Life 360 data placed Sade at Anderson's home and never leaving alive. 3. The car's flight. License plate readers showed her car leaving after she was dead. 4. The phone's journey. The final ping led to the discovery of the first body part. 5. The arson and escape. The bus footage placed Anderson fleeing the burned-out car. 6. The tools and the plan. The informant's testimony about the tarped basement and the bloody saw provided motive and method. The jury saw a predator who prepared, executed, and then panicked. The digital evidence formed a cage around him. After an 8-day trial, they deliberated for less than an hour. On June 6, 2025, Maxwell Anderson was found guilty of first-degree intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse, arson, and hiding a corpse. At his sentencing on August 1, 2025, Anderson maintained his innocence, claiming Sade must have been abducted by someone else after she left his home. Judge Laura Crivello dismissed this as a fantasy, stating his view of reality was entirely disconnected from the evidence. She sentenced him to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The most powerful moment came from Sade's mother, Sheena Scarborough. In a victim impact statement that resonated across the nation, she directly addressed Anderson. "I'm going to respectfully request that you confess where the rest of my daughter's crown is. You've already done the worst. You could at least give us that much." She referred to her daughter's missing head, the crown of her being, pleading for the one piece of closure his cruelty had denied them. The murder of Sade Robinson is a definitive 21st century crime. It proves that in an age of ubiquitous digital tracking, from phone apps to traffic cameras to bus surveillance, the old methods of forensic camouflage, dismemberment, arson, are often futile. The perpetrator can destroy the physical evidence, but they cannot erase the digital ghost of their actions. The case sparked legislative action in Wisconsin, with Sade's family founding Sade's Voice Foundation to push for a task force on missing and murdered Black women and reforms to dating app safety. A civil lawsuit also highlighted the failure of the bars that served alcohol to a minor, Sade was 19, on that fatal first date, questioning their role in facilitating the predator's lure. Most hauntingly, Sade Robinson's story ends without a full stop. Her head and heart are still missing, a permanent, agonizing void for her family. Maxwell Anderson sits in a prison cell, his life over, but holding the final, cruel secret of where he hid the crown of the vibrant young woman he sat beside for beer pong on what should have been an ordinary night. The digital trail secured justice, but it could not recover all that was lost. A reminder that some wounds, even in the face of conviction, never fully heal.